Game masters looking for deft dragons with deviously drifting dreams and noxiously nefarious allure. No other dragon does the deception like this scaled beauty. And at lucky number 13, on the TPK or bust list, the green dragon has so much to offer I cannot wait to dive fully into all that the green dragon has to offer. But if tricky words and deceitful diplomacy aren't really up your alley, check out my other TPK or bust contenders like the blue dragon or the deep dragon. Those two, and many others, have such various combat abilities to offer that you should definitely go watch them right after this video. And a reminder that if this content is something you want more of, support me by casting 2nd level like button, and 5th level subscribe if you have the spell slots. With introductions out of the way, combat skills come first, and the green dragon boasts a pretty above average damage curve for its wombo combo. Sitting at a fun 50, it's just there, just above average. Its legendary actions are identical to all the other chromatic dragons. Something I personally have a problem with, but it's not too crazy. We're looking at a 1 legendary action for detect, 1 for a tail attack, and 2 for the classic wing attack movement ability. Like I already said, identical to most of the other chromatic dragons, and even more so than that, 5th edition seems to have a problem with copy and pasting skills from monster families. But luckily the green dragon's frightful presence is actually more interesting to explore than the rest of her legendary actions. Now, frightful presence is something I don't normally cover, but in this case, being able to fear a target is actually very interesting. To be frank, its only true difference comes from the way the green dragon might use the frightful presence in tandem with its charisma or its life history. Fear comes in many forms after all, and it might be fun to have a player both be scared of her mighty form, sure, but doubly scared of her wit and her social suave. The frightful presence in unison with the dragon's ability to manipulate and deceive will be a powerful tool in any game master's back pocket. And although combat may not be the green dragon's first option, it's a great fallback after its first 10 plans fall through. You see, if diplomacy, intimidation, and general charisma shenanigans aren't enough to dissuade a party, then the breath attack is more than likely a perfect deterrent. So first up, the poison breath attack has a 60-foot cone of gas that deals 56 poison damage on average, half as much on a save versus a DC 18 Constitution saving throw. Which isn't the most damage by far, considering the black dragon does 54 in a line, and the white dragon does 54 in a cone, and they're lower CR. The gas, which is, as far as I understand it, is supposed to be chlorine gas. It affects the skin, the lungs, the eyes, and the moist body parts of living creatures. I love the flavor of this breath attack, but sadly those are actually the best parts of the breath attack as a whole. As I've already covered before in other TPK or bust contenders, I have a huge issue with Constitution saving throws. Many player characters in 5th edition power up Constitution early, making the save a lot less difficult to overcome. And secondly, poison, very similar to fire as a damage type, is easily resisted and easily earned as an immunity. So overall, the dragon's ability to brawl and deal solid damage isn't in question here, but rather how it's going to use its offensive skills in a real, bloody battle. And I have to say the green dragon isn't one to fight fair. It uses ambush-style tactics, traps, minions, hostages, and social manipulation of every type and flavor. It's just going to end up being that any party looking to fight the green dragon is going to have to jump through every hoop and fight every minion to ever even have a chance of fighting the dragon. I would say, in flat terms of claw to sword combat, the green dragon is pretty standard, maybe just above the curve. It would be like a 5.9 out of 10, but considering everything, the total offensive score has to be an 8.1 out of 10. And much of this score revolves around its battle style. A party might find it impossible to actually find the dragon, much less get the drop on it without it knowing first. There's just too many eyes and bodies that slink around the forest that it calls home. Intelligent creatures bent to the whims of the dragon easily inform her, or help her, to deceive, trick, and manipulate the party into a disadvantage before even meeting it. And with tactics generally covered, we'll move straight into the skills segment, where the green dragon has some pretty wild magical options. First of all, the Green Dragon's stats are looking at 25 Strength, 12 Dexterity, 21 Constitution, 18 Intelligence, 15 Wisdom, and 17 Charisma. And while 17 Charisma would normally make most player characters jealous, I can't help but feel a little disappointed it's not a well-rounded 18. With the origins of a green dragon revolving around them being raised by their parents in social situations from birth, it doesn't sit right with me. To be honest, this, paired with its proficient skills not actually having expertise, like in deception or persuasion, the things the green dragon does more often than breathing, it all boils down to a lack of creative change in the 5th edition monster manual. Nothing against the dragon itself, it is just how the monster manual is constructed. Many of the standard dragons do not have much deviation in terms of original abilities, skills, stats. Most of their changes actually end up being differences in magical prowess and breath attacks, which honestly makes them very stale to read about sometimes, and makes me highly encourage game masters and players to homebrew at your own table and hotfix the mistakes that the game is actually built with. I encourage you to take ideas, themes, and skills and run with them and design them to fit your stories and your game so your group can have even more fun. And again, this isn't a statement against the Green Dragon itself, simply a complaint against the official stat block not truly representing, once again, the dragon's true abilities. I'm not going to reduce its score because of these factors. It's something I see pretty often, but it's something I wanted to cover in this video. And I hope that game masters listening in on this will take my advice and look deeper into the monsters that you use. Not just read their sheets, but actually read about what they are. But enough chit-chat. Moving right along into the movement options, it has a swim speed of 40, a walk speed of 40, and a fly speed of 80. Pretty standard dragon stuff. And the Green Dragon does everything it needs to do in a forest. Except climbing, which I suppose with a 23 strength and wings, I'm not really sure it's going to have a problem with that either. Its ability to breathe underwater is actually a massive boon here, and I can see the Green Dragon making an effort to throw adventurers off of her scent to escape line of sight, or just using the water as a new obstacle. It's something many other dragons might not use fully, but totally could. I really feel like with 18 intelligence, it really brings a new angle to the table of how often monsters are going to be using their layers far more effectively. It's sort of like a milestone in my eyes. 18 is just so high, it's up there in levels of intelligence. And the Green Dragon definitely uses its intelligence. Lastly is the Green Dragon's Lair actions. They pull up the rear with 3 individual skills. Those being grasping roots and vines erupt in a 20-foot radius centered on a point of the ground that the dragon can see within 120 feet. This area becomes difficult terrain. All creatures must succeed on a saving throw or be restrained. A creature can free themselves by taking an action, or somebody else can help them. Either way, the vines are very useful for one thing: pinning down mobile threats that are hard to get a hold of, like monks and rogues, making them easy pickings for the dragon's tail or jaws. Next up is a long, complicated ability that basically states the following. In a 120-foot range, you raise a 60-foot long, 10 feet high, 5-foot thick wall of thorns. These thorns are very difficult to get out of, they cost a lot of movement, they do damage to people, they push people, and on top of all of that, they have their own AC and hit points. Not only is this super useful, but it's super flavorful. The ability is just really great. It cuts off line of sight, it deals dependable damage, it separates players, and it even stays around until the same layer action is used again, rather than disappearing at the start of the round when a dragon uses a different layer action. It's pure gold, and I would highly recommend looking at the battle map far more closely and using this ability to corner or cover a player completely, smothering them so they cannot perform ranged attacks or line-of-sight spells. You can isolate a single target for one-on-one combat for a turn. It's extremely powerful and very slimy, and I recommend doing it way too much. The last layer action is a magical fog billows around one creature that the dragon can see, and they must succeed on a DC 15 wisdom saving throw or become charmed until the top of initiative. On top of a fear effect, the dragon can now charm targets, forcing them against each other or having them expertly run away to do something crazy or wild. The green dragon's flavor is oozing out of this one. This can be like a bribe or a persuasion, a deepest fear, a blackmail. It can be anything you think of. And I think that's where I really like to think about this dragon. I like the fact that this dragon has many, many options that are not wrote down on paper. Although I may have been upset about some of the stats and the literal skills of the green dragon, its lair actions and movement options really kept impressing me over and over and over. Even more so, that crazy spike brush wall lair action is pretty insane. In fact, the green dragon's skills gotta be a 9.9 out of 10 for me. I mean, those lair actions pull their weight. All three of them are extremely useful. And again, most of my grievances aren't actually with the dragon itself. In terms of CR to CR, compared to the chromatic dragons and even the metallic dragon families, the green dragon keeps up and does way more than it should. And because of that, the green dragon really gets the spotlight here, and can easily take over a combat extremely quickly and suddenly with its bag of many tricks. Next up, the green dragon's defensive rating is not that impressive so far. It has a pretty mild HP pool of 207, the average AC of 19, immunity to poison, pretty standard dragon stuff, nothing to write home about, with similar saving throws to other dragons like +6 dexterity, +10 constitution, +7 wisdom, and +8 charisma. Although the dragon doesn't really need help in any one department, it's pretty well-rounded defensive-wise, and I see nothing wrong with that. Honestly, the entire personality of the green dragon is to not be in combat. Nothing disadvantageous to it. They want to manipulate. They want to lie their way out of danger if they ever find themselves in said danger. With a notable exception. Green dragons will absolutely rock your shit if you mess with their eggs. I am talking all the tricks come out of the bag at that point, and boy howdy do you not want to be close by or the one messing with their babies. Like other dragons, sure, yeah, they'll take it personal. Some of them will be really mad at you. Some of them will be defensive, but green dragons, oh, they will make you suffer. They will fight tooth, claw, and eye for every egg, foregoing defense and playing all in for its children's lives. Now, technically I did already talk about its lair actions, but it's worth noting that a green dragon wouldn't let anyone wander into its forest without proper tribute. The green dragon's slaves, plants, and other nasties under its command make it far more fortified than other dragons. To me, the green dragon actually brings a shocking level of preparation to the table when it comes to potential combat, even if they never use it. Just thinking in terms of what it means to manipulate a populace, including plants, animals, and any sentient thing in the local area, I can't imagine the green dragon would be surprised that often to see anything dangerous to it. In fact, quests that are pointed towards killing the green menace would probably be fully orchestrated by the dragon to lead unprepared parties to their demise. Because of this sort of preparation and shielding in terms of game master shenanigans, the green dragon's defensive score actually settles into a pretty great 7.2 out of 10. And sure, while technically the defensive features are pretty on par with other chromatic kin and metallic kin, you know, its ability to just be like, oh, I actually prepared for this, or oh, I know a guy, or oh, I actually have slaves to protect me, gives the dragon a very clear line for game masters to worm themselves out of a sticky situation. And lastly, its flavor. And to keep this one short and sweet, most of the time, the green dragon delights in deception and manipulation. It just loves being a threat to elves and gnomes alike, and generally any intelligent creature that is lesser than it. I enjoy this fresh take on what evil is, compared to other motivations that other dragons have. For people looking for like TV show style drama, backstabbing, big reveals, cults who manipulate cities and their people from their shadows, this is the kind of dragon you're wanting to run. It's powerful, it's deadly, intelligent, and charismatic. It's everything you need to be the perfect puppet master. Honestly, the more I learned about the green dragon, the more thankful I was that I've never personally had to fight one, and any of the times that I've gotten to play. And if you're looking for the answer to murder hobos gone wild, or maybe a party with a too big of a chip on its shoulder, or maybe even just a group with a love of diplomacy and unraveling big, convoluted plots, this is your dragon, Game Masters. Get to brewing! Go, go, go! For flavor, the dragon earns a surprisingly honest 8.0 out of 10. Honestly, the Green Dragon's a fun one. Its theme is fresh, it's open-minded, and its details are spot on, even if some of the official stats and skills are a little disappointing on the sheet. I really think the Green Dragon, with a little bit of tinkering, would be probably one of the most fun dragons to run at a table. It can be a villain, an anti-hero, a manipulator of a city. It can be a mysterious magical force. It can be so much more than what it is on paper. The door is completely open to this one, and it's up to you and your group to take the reins and run with your creative ideas. And I fully recommend watching shows like Game of Thrones to get into that violence and diplomacy go hand in hand vibe. And finally, with all that said, the Green Dragon's ego properly inflated, the Green Dragon totals up to an 8.3 out of 10 for today's TPK or Bust rating. And it's so ironically honest for this deceptive dragon. And this lands the dragon straight into the certified TPK monster rating. And it's fun and dreadfully dangerous. And it's wonderful and awesome and amazing. And I cannot express how much you should totally be learning more about these dragons. Not just reading about them, but go watch videos and YouTubers like the ones Mr. Rex posts or AJ Pickett. They have great lore videos on dragons. But that wraps up today's TPK or Bust video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and make sure to check out other really fun ones like the Elder Brain Dragon, or the Emerald Dragon, or even just the Adult Black Dragon. All of them are interesting in their own right, and I've worked really hard on all of them, and have come a long way from where I started. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great D&D session, and Game Masters, try not to be too mean with this one. People can get a little salty when they get outsmarted. Hey guys, thanks for watching this one. Honestly, I had actually wrote an entire script, recorded it, started editing it, and realized I didn't like it. I scrapped the entire project and rewrote everything, redid the audio, and have redone the edit in full. And let me tell you what, it was a headache. Oh my god, it was a headache. But we are here, the video's over, and you're hanging out for some reason watching this last little bit. So, hi? But yeah, thanks for watching. Go check out my other videos. I stream on Twitch a lot, pretty often, I guess. Yeah, keep an eye out for other projects I'm working on too. And yeah, I'm surprised you're still here, actually. Maybe I should just cut this off in the middle of the audio that I'm doing just to be like, oh, you know, I did a thing. And it's like, oh, I cut off the audio because, the music's over and blah, 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 blah.